My name is Serenity Davis. I'm 27 years old, and I thought family meant celebrating each other's milestones until my aunt looked me in the eye and said, Serenity can find another venue. Sarah's wedding is more important. What happened next proved that while I was frantically calling every wedding venue in the city 3 days before my ceremony, my aunt's attempt to steal my dream wedding was about to backfire in ways that would cost her more than triple what she thought she was saving. Before I tell you how one phone call from a furious venue owner exposed a fraud scheme so brazen it belonged in a courtroom, and how contract law turned my aunt's wedding theft into the most expensive family betrayal she ever attempted, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear how 4 words, legally binding contract violated, made my aunt realize she had just committed fraud against a bride who happened to work for the city's most prestigious law firm. Let me take you back to where this story really begins. My Aunt Linda has always been competitive about everything, but especially when it comes to her daughter Sarah compared to me. Linda is my father's sister, and she spent my entire life making subtle comments about how Sarah is more accomplished, more beautiful, or more deserving than I am. Sarah has such natural grace, Linda would say at family gatherings. Some girls just have that special quality that makes them stand out. The implication was always clear. I was not one of those special girls. Linda's competitiveness reached new heights when Sarah and I both got engaged within 6 months of each other. I got engaged to my fiancé Marcus in January, and Sarah got engaged to her boyfriend Tyler in June. From the moment Sarah announced her engagement, Linda made it clear that Sarah's wedding was going to be the event of the century. Sarah deserves the most perfect wedding, Linda announced at our family 4th of July barbecue. We're sparing no expense to make sure her day is absolutely magical. I was happy for Sarah. I genuinely wanted her to have a beautiful wedding. But Linda's constant emphasis on making Sarah's wedding perfect felt like a not-so-subtle dig at my own wedding plans. Marcus and I had set our wedding date for September 15th, giving us 8 months to plan everything. We weren't working with a huge budget, but we had saved carefully and were determined to create a beautiful, meaningful celebration. The most important element for me was the venue. I had dreamed since college of getting married at Rosewood Manor, a historic estate with gorgeous gardens and a Victorian mansion that had been converted into an elegant event space. Rosewood Manor was expensive, 8-0 for a Saturday wedding, but it was absolutely perfect. The gardens were breathtaking, the ballroom was romantic and intimate, and the entire property felt like something out of a fairy tale. I called Rosewood Manor in February to check availability and was thrilled to learn that September 15th was open. That's actually one of our most popular dates. The venue coordinator, Jennifer, told me, September weddings in our gardens are absolutely stunning. Would you like to schedule a tour? Marcus and I visited Rosewood Manor the following weekend and fell in love immediately. The ceremony space overlooked a rose garden in full bloom. The reception hall had crystal chandeliers and hardwood floors perfect for dancing, and the bridal suite was elegant and private. This is it, I told Marcus as we walked through the gardens. This is where I want to marry you. We signed the contract that day, putting down a 3-0 deposit and agreeing to pay the remaining 5-0 6 weeks before the wedding. I was so excited that I posted photos of the venue on my social media accounts that evening, captioning them, "Can't wait to say I do in this magical place." The response from family and friends was overwhelmingly positive. Everyone agreed that Rosewood Manor was absolutely perfect for our wedding. Everyone, except Linda. "It's lovely," she said when I showed her the photos at our next family dinner. "Very traditional. I'm sure it will be nice for you." The way she said "nice for you" made it sound like I was settling for something mediocre. Over the next few months, Linda made increasingly pointed comments about Rosewood Manor whenever wedding planning came up in conversation. "Sarah and Tyler are looking at much more exclusive venues," she would say. "Places that are really special, not just pretty." "Rosewood Manor is beautiful," my mother would always reply. Serenity made an excellent choice. But Linda's criticism continued. "I just think a wedding venue should be more than just photogenic. It should be sophisticated and elegant, not just quaint." I tried to ignore Linda's negativity and focus on planning the wedding Marcus and I actually wanted. We sent save the dates in April, booked our photographer and caterer in May, and ordered invitations in June. Everything was progressing perfectly until late July, when Sarah announced that she and Tyler had decided to move up their wedding date. "We don't want to wait until next spring," Sarah told the family during our monthly dinner. "We've decided to get married in September." I felt a little surprised but didn't think much of it. September was a popular wedding month, and I assumed Sarah would choose a different weekend than mine. But then Linda made a comment that sent chills down my spine. "Sarah has her heart set on September 15th, Linda said, looking directly at me. "It's the most perfect date for a fall wedding." September 15th was my wedding date. "Mom," I said carefully, "that's the same weekend as my wedding." "Oh," Linda said with exaggerated surprise. "I didn't realize. But I'm sure having two weddings on the same weekend won't be a problem. People can choose which one they want to attend." The suggestion that family members would need to choose between my wedding and Sarah's was absurd and hurtful. "Linda," my mother said firmly, "Serenity booked her date first. Sarah should pick a different weekend." "Sarah shouldn't have to change her plans just because Serenity happened to pick the same date," Linda replied. "Besides, Sarah's wedding is going to be much larger and more formal. It makes more sense for family to prioritize her celebration." I was stunned. Linda was essentially saying that Sarah's wedding was more important than mine, and that I should expect family members to skip my ceremony to attend hers. "That's completely inappropriate," my father said angrily. "Serenity's wedding was planned first, and we're all going to be there to support her." The conversation ended uncomfortably, with Linda making it clear that she expected family loyalty to fall in line with Sarah's wedding plans regardless of timing conflicts. Over the next few weeks, Linda continued to pressure family members to prioritize Sarah's wedding. She sent group text messages about Sarah's venue search, shared photos of Sarah's dress shopping, and constantly emphasized how important it was for family to be present for Sarah's special day. But I tried to stay focused on my own wedding plans. I had made my final payment to Rosewood Manor in early August, confirmed all vendor details, and was looking forward to the most important day of my life. Then, 3 days before my wedding, my world fell apart. I was at work. I'm a paralegal at Henderson, Mitchell, Associates, one of the city's most respected law firms, when my phone rang with a call from Jennifer at Rosewood Manor. "Serenity," Jennifer said, and I could hear tension in her voice. "I need to speak with you immediately about your wedding this weekend." My heart started racing. "Is everything okay?" "There's been a very serious problem," Jennifer said. "I just got off the phone with your Aunt Linda, who informed me that your wedding has been canceled and that her daughter Sarah will be using the venue instead." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. "What?" I said. "My wedding hasn't been canceled. What is she talking about?" "Your aunt said that you had decided to postpone your wedding and that Sarah needed the venue for this Saturday instead," Jennifer continued. "She said the family had discussed it and everyone agreed that Sarah's wedding should take priority." I was so shocked I could barely speak. "Jennifer, none of that is true. My wedding is absolutely not canceled. I have no idea what my aunt is talking about." "Serenity, I'm very confused," Jennifer said. "Your aunt was very insistent that she had the right to transfer your booking to Sarah. She said she was prepared to pay the full amount for Saturday's event." My mind was racing. "Jennifer, do you have my signed contract there?" "Yes, of course." "Can you read me the name on the contract?" "The contract is signed by Serenity Davis and Marcus Johnson," Jennifer said. "That's me and my fiancé," I said. "Linda Davis is not on the contract. She has no legal right to cancel my booking or transfer it to anyone else." There was a pause. "Serenity, you're absolutely right," Jennifer said slowly. "I should have realized that immediately. Only the parties named in the contract can make changes to the booking." "What exactly did my aunt tell you?" I asked. "She said that the family had decided Sarah's wedding was more important and that you had agreed to find a different venue," Jennifer explained. "She was very convincing and seemed to have detailed knowledge about your wedding plans." Of course, Linda had detailed knowledge. I had been sharing updates about my wedding planning with family for months. "Jennifer, my aunt lied to you," I said firmly. "My wedding is happening this Saturday as planned. Linda has no authority to make any changes to my booking." "I understand that now," Jennifer said. "But Serenity, there's another problem. Your aunt already paid me $8,000 for Saturday's event, and she's demanding that I refund your original payment." My blood started boiling. Linda hadn't just tried to steal my venue, she had tried to steal my money too. Jennifer, I need to be very clear about this, I said, drawing on my legal training. My contract with Rosewood Manor is legally binding. My aunt committed fraud by misrepresenting her authority to cancel my booking. Not only should my wedding proceed as planned, but my aunt should face consequences for attempted theft and fraud. Serenity, I completely agree, Jennifer said. I should never have accepted payment from someone who wasn't party to the original contract. This is my fault, and I'm going to make it right immediately. What happens now? I asked. I'm calling your aunt right now to explain that her payment is being refunded and that your wedding is proceeding as scheduled, Jennifer said. I'm also going to inform her that attempting to steal another person's venue booking could be considered criminal fraud. The phone call ended with Jennifer apologizing profusely and assuring me that my wedding would be absolutely perfect on Saturday. But I was far from finished with Linda. I called my mother immediately. Mom, did you know that Linda tried to steal my wedding venue? I asked. What? My mother said. Serenity, what are you talking about? I explained everything. Linda's call to the venue, her false claims about family decisions, and her attempt to steal both my booking and my money. My mother was silent for a long moment, then said in a voice I had never heard before, Serenity, that is the most appalling thing I have ever heard. I am calling Linda right now. Mom, wait, I said. I want to handle this myself. Linda committed fraud, and I work for a law firm. I know exactly what her actions could result in. That afternoon, I consulted with my boss, partner David Mitchell, about Linda's attempted venue theft. Serenity, what your aunt did constitutes attempted fraud, conversion, and possibly theft, David said after reviewing the facts. She misrepresented her authority to make contract changes, attempted to steal your venue booking, and tried to appropriate money you had already paid. What are my options? I asked. Well, you could file criminal charges, David said, but more practically, you could demand compensation for the damages her actions caused. What kind of damages? The stress, the time spent resolving her fraud, the potential costs if you had needed to find an alternative venue, David explained. In cases like this, courts often award treble damages, 3 times the actual harm, to punish fraudulent behavior. That evening, I drove to Linda's house for a conversation I had been looking forward to all day. Linda answered the door with a smug expression, clearly expecting me to beg for family mercy. Serenity, she said with fake enthusiasm. I heard there was some confusion about the venue. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find somewhere lovely for your little ceremony. Linda, I said calmly, I'm here to inform you that your attempt to steal my wedding venue constitutes fraud, and you're going to face legal consequences for your actions. Linda's expression shifted from smugness to confusion. What are you talking about? I was just trying to help Sarah secure a nice venue. You called Rosewood Manor and falsely claimed that I had canceled my wedding. I said, you misrepresented your authority to make contract changes, attempted to steal a booking that belongs to me, and tried to appropriate money I had already paid. That's ridiculous, Linda said. Family should help each other. Sarah needed a venue, and you could have found something else. Linda, what you did is called fraud, I continued. My boss is a partner at Henderson, Mitchell, Associates, and he's prepared to file both criminal charges and a civil lawsuit unless you make this right immediately. For the first time, Linda looked genuinely worried. You can't sue family over a simple misunderstanding, she said. Actually, I can, I replied. And fraud isn't a misunderstanding, it's a felony. I handed Linda a letter that David Mitchell had helped me draft. This letter demands that you pay me $24,000 in damages for your fraudulent actions, I said. That's 3 times the cost of my venue, which is the standard penalty for attempted theft and fraud. Linda's face went white as she read the letter. $24,000? She whispered. Serenity, that's insane. I can't afford that. You should have thought about that before you tried to steal my wedding, I said. You have 48 hours to pay, or we're filing both criminal charges and a civil lawsuit. But Sarah's wedding is ruined now, Linda protested. She can't find another venue with 3 days' notice. That's not my problem, I said. Sarah can find somewhere lovely for her little ceremony. The irony of using Linda's own words back at her was incredibly satisfying. "Serenity, please," Linda said, her voice now desperate. "Can't we work something out? I'll pay for your flowers or your photographer or something." "Linda, you tried to steal my wedding," I said. "The only thing that makes this right is full compensation for your fraud." I left Linda's house feeling more empowered than I had in years. 2 days later, the day before my wedding, Linda's husband brought me a cashier's check for 24,000. "Linda wants you to know that she's sorry," he said awkwardly. "She didn't realize her actions were illegal." "She knew exactly what she was doing," I replied. "But I appreciate the apology." My wedding at Rosewood Manor was absolutely perfect. The gardens were stunning, the ceremony was magical, and our reception was everything Marcus and I had dreamed of. The best part was that Linda and Sarah didn't attend. Apparently, they were too embarrassed to face the family after Linda's fraud had been exposed. My mother made a beautiful speech during the reception about how proud she was of me for standing up for myself and refusing to be bullied by family members who didn't respect my rights. "Serenity taught us all a valuable lesson," my mother said. "Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who need the clearest boundaries." The extra 16,000 Linda paid in damages covered our entire honeymoon to Italy, with enough left over to make a substantial down payment on our first house. As for Sarah, she ended up getting married at a hotel conference room with less than 24 hours' notice. According to family members who attended, it was a lovely but very simple ceremony, nothing like the elaborate celebration Linda had been planning. Linda has never apologized to me directly, but she's never again tried to interfere with any of my major life events. And 6 months later, when Sarah and Tyler announced they were getting divorced, Linda made sure to mention that they should have taken more time to plan properly. The irony wasn't lost on anyone in the family. Sometimes the person who tries to steal your special day is actually giving you the opportunity to prove that you won't be pushed around by family bullies. And sometimes the wedding venue theft that seems like a disaster becomes the moment you realize that setting boundaries with toxic family members is the best gift you can give yourself. My marriage to Marcus is stronger than ever. We have a beautiful home that was partially funded by Linda's fraud penalty, and I've built a reputation at my law firm as someone who doesn't back down from bullies, even when they're family. But the best part of this whole story is that Linda learned that attempting to steal someone's wedding venue isn't just morally wrong, it's expensive. $24,000 expensive. Some people think family means you should accept whatever treatment they dish out. But I learned that family should respect your boundaries, celebrate your happiness, and face consequences when they cross the line. Linda learned that the hard way. And Sarah learned that letting your mother commit fraud to steal your cousin's wedding venue is not the foundation for a successful marriage. But me? I learned that standing up for yourself isn't just the right thing to do, sometimes it's also the most profitable thing to do. Especially when the person trying to steal from you doesn't realize you work for one of the best law firms in the city. The venue was perfect, the marriage is solid, and the house Linda accidentally helped us buy is absolutely beautiful. Some families celebrate each other's milestones, others commit fraud to sabotage them. But the beautiful thing about contract law is that it doesn't care about family dynamics, it only cares about who actually signed the papers. Linda learned that lesson 3 days before my wedding, and she paid 24,000 to learn it.